Hey guys, I'm Bryson here and welcome to my show, and today we're gonna take a look at, surprisingly, one of the best millennial money out there according to the comments and also the title. So this one is all about basically this guy in Brooklyn named Jesus that also is 24 years old, makes around $110,000 and also has a daughter. So right there from the title you're probably like, oh my gosh, this guy is like so cool. And from the comments also, it sounds like he's also pretty cool. Usually I'm not that happy about people's decisions, but I'm kind of being more optimistic about this one right here. So let's find out. And by the way guys, I also do post videos on this channel every single day, so make sure to also subscribe to the channel and hit the bell so you're notified every time I post a new video. And on top of that, also destroy the like button. Now without further ado, let's see exactly what Jesus is doing. And Jesus is such a weird name to actually have, but let's see exactly what Jesus is doing in Brooklyn, if he's wasting money or if he's actually doing pretty good when it comes to finances.
I'm a young father. It's not like I was given the silver spoon where I could work a 100K job. Found out to be that I was going to be a father by 18. So I had to...
Wow, so he was actually going to be a father at age 18. That's pretty crazy, man. Now, my goal is to like have my first kid when I'm like 25. I have like 2 more years left. But the idea of being 18 and being a father and also being this responsible, it's actually pretty cool.
choose whether I want to keep going to school or take care of my son.
I see. So then he had to pick between, hey, by the way, he's like 24 years old, makes $110,000, and he had to pick whether like he wants to take care of his kid or basically go to school. Usually for me, it's basically like, okay, why not do both? Why not like try to figure out how to do both? And something's gonna be difficult, but I think it's like always like a possibility, depending on your situation. You can do both, right? Yeah, you can do both. You can basically, it depends, because basically if you're full-time at school, then you're part-time at a job or full-time at a job, and then you also have the kid, it can be very difficult to manage everything in one place. So I get it.
I was always having to work throughout my whole life. I've worked since I was 13 years old.
That is an awesome work ethic, man. If you're like 13 years old working, congratulations. I got my first job, I think when I was like around, I think it was like 10 or 11 or 12. One of those, like 3 of those, And I was actually like a bagger at a supermarket making around like $60 every single day. And that was pretty cool for me back then also, But the idea is, the earlier you work, the more you learn about money and actually making your own money. And that's actually very motivating. So I respect this a lot. Very early, let's go.
Back in the bakery of my grandparents. Then from there, school just started to fade away. And as soon as I was expecting a baby boy, I had to drop all the things from school and just go straight to work, make sure.
Okay, so I see. So he obviously, like, when he started making money, he probably like started like losing interest on school. For me, it was kind of like the opposite, Like the more I worked, like the more I wanted to keep going to school and figuring things out, Because I always thought about like, hey, if I can make this much money without actually going to school or like being in school, imagine how much money I can make once I'm done with school, That was like my general idea. But it gets difficult, It gets difficult whenever, like, for example, you have a kid at age 18. But I think it's always like a possibility. I'm not gonna BS you here, okay? I always think it's a possibility to manage work, also school. By the way, right, if you have like a lady, you guys are together, she can take care of the kid, or you can take care of the kid and she can go to school, and then once she's done with that, you can switch back around, and then basically everybody gets educated. A lot of my friends do that also.
I have enough money to cover the costs of a newborn child. I was able to go back to school, get my GED, and then from there I just started going application to application.
By the way, guys, I have a lot of friends also that basically what they do is, believe it or not, they actually drop out of school, get their GED, and go straight to college. And that way they can skip like almost 2 years of high school. I don't know about that, Like, is it a good idea? The answer is, it depends on what you want to do. But I've seen a lot of people actually do it and be very successful with it, So it's kind of like a shortcut if you're interested in it. So Jesus is a supervisor at installation of new electrical smart meters in the tri-state area. It sounds like a very cool job, It sounds like, well, not a, not like the best crazy job out there, but it sounds like a very cool like city job that pays a lot of money and also has great benefits. It's always like a very good thing. He makes around $80,000 at his day job, including overtime. That's pretty awesome. That's a pretty awesome wage, After taxes, maybe like what, like 65 or maybe 60,000. That's awesome.
I lived in a family where we really didn't know too much about money, but we were really good at business. My grandfather knows how to do business, and then my parents really didn't know how to manage their money.
All right, so let's pause it right there. So basically, business expenses, he spends around $2,518. Whenever something's related to business, I don't really mind as long as like what's actually coming out the business, you're actually making more money. Insurance, $589. Well, he also does have like I assume a wife and also 2 kids, so I kind of understand that. Well, it depends like what you're paying for. Is it, for example, like car insurance? I'm not sure. Food, $500. 2 kids, also like a wife. I get that. Housing, $480. That's pretty cheap, honestly. Transportation, $456. Well, I'm assuming now I'm getting a little mad here. I'm assuming that he also has a car now, so that's pretty expensive. And I'm assuming the insurance is also from the car. So now I'm like, okay, you're spending way too much money in that car and also insurance. But again, I'm almost assuming debt repayment, $420. If he didn't go to school, I'm not sure about what he had to borrow money for. That's pretty high. 401k, investing as an investment, so I agree with it. Phone bill, $195. If he has a family of 4 people, he could probably cut that down to maybe like $110, depending on what actually company he has. Miscellaneous, okay. Subscriptions, okay. So $5,000. That's like 5 times 12. That's $40,000. So he has discretionary income of around like $20,000-$30,000. It's a lot of math, right, I'm doing here, but the answer is it's decent. It's decent.
Car payment is around $406. I normally use my car during the weekend when I go out with the family.
All right, so see, right there, I told you guys, I predicted the heck out of this. He has a car, he uses on the weekends. He lives in the city. There is no need to have a car when you're in like New York, you know, to be honest with you. So I'm not a fan of that, Jesus. Not at all. Not at all. No need to have a car. It's a big expense. Kind of like having like another kid, you know. It's too expensive if you ask me.
I am saving up towards maybe $300 going towards 401k with my company. They do company match it by 50%. And
yeah, that's always a good idea, you know. If the company is matching it, then go ahead and take advantage of it. But the idea is he's spending $500 on insurance, $400 on the car. That's like already $900. He could have put all that money towards his 401k, you know, but then he's spending it on a car. Not a big fan at all.
And then they do cap me at $2,000, but hey, it's free money.
Yeah, free money. Jesus also borrowed around $2,000 from his 401k earlier this year. Well, I'm assuming, I'm not going to judge him just yet, okay? I'm assuming that if he borrowed that money, it might have been for business or maybe an emergency. I'm not sure yet. But with an $80,000 job, I don't see the point of borrowing money. Let's see.
So I currently live with my in-laws, mainly because I'm trying to save up as much money as I can.
You know, if you're trying to, it's so difficult, you know. The thing is, if you're living with your in-laws, right? That's the thing. I'm assuming like, is it like your girlfriend's parents or something like that? But the idea is, if you're living with your in-laws, you're obviously trying to cut on the entire expense of actually living. But obviously, he pays them some type of money. The idea is, Jesus, you know, why not take away that freaking car, and that way you have even more money to actually save up. You know, I don't like the car thing. It makes no sense to use it on the weekends. Big liability.
The total cost of this apartment is $1,600. I prefer to stay here to minimize my expenses. Then from there, save up as much money as I can from investments and be able to put a down payment to a house.
Yeah, you know, I was talking about that yesterday in my main channel's video about the cost of renting versus the cost of actually buying a house. You know, the rule is if it's like 1/3 of your expenses, then go ahead and buy a house. But I'm assuming right now, man, his expenses are very high, so it's gonna be very hard for him to actually get a house unless he's actually saving like a ton of money for a crazy down payment. But then again, the houses also in Brooklyn or where he's trying to live, it might be very expensive trying to like buy something in the city, like $500,000-$600,000. It'll be like a lot of money. Oh, he also has a family business. Okay, a deli.
My mother was able to sustain herself because my grandparents had run a mom and pop shop. It's a Mexican bakery. They have pastries, so she would work there.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome that his mom is like also entrepreneurial, and maybe that sparked something in him also. That's pretty cool. I respect it a lot. Okay, so let's see. Jesus sells everyday products. I'm assuming this is retail arbitrage. Let's see.
It's a type of program where you ship in merchandise to Amazon, and then from there they'll disperse it to the customers. My job is to buy things at a low cost and sell them as high as I can. And then from there, Amazon.
Okay, so here is the expenses right here. $2,000 to buy the product, storage units, estimated taxes, and shipping $150. Yeah, I know this is called like retail arbitrage. Like when you go somewhere like a retail area, you find products that are mismatched or like mispriced. You put them on Amazon, you sell it for a profit. I get that. It's also like making some extra money. I respect it a lot. You know, I did drop shipping, very similar, but without like all the upfront expenses. So far, he's made $30,000 from Amazon in 2019. Here's the thing, okay? I don't know if it's like 30K profit or like 30K gross, because Amazon, I think, charges like around like 30% or like 15%. I'm not sure. But the idea is like you have to talk about like taxes, also Amazon's cut, and also the fulfillment center costs also. So I don't know if it's like a full 30K.
So currently my wife hasn't been working because she had to take care of the kids.
Every day is different. It's never the same, but it's amazing. I get to watch my kids grow, you know.
I think that is so beautiful, you know, like I like the idea of like, you know, kids having someone there to actually grow them up. It's very difficult in New York, you know, because usually if you live, for example, in like your own apartment, usually it's not enough for like one person to work. In this case, it is. But the idea is sometimes like your dad and your mom have to work, and then the kids are kind of like left to like their own devices, you know, and that's never really good. So I respect this a lot. I respect this a lot.
Me and my wife met when we were 13 years old. We hated each other.
Wow, 13 years old and they hated each other. You know, when you're 13 years old, the way you show that you like somebody is by, you know, like hating them and teasing them also. So I get it.
My children will be getting older, so I do have to get a house pronto. So I'm considering of taking out maybe a loan from the 401k plan just to buy a house. And my plans is to go moving forward to Connecticut. Real estate is my...
Okay, so he's trying to move over to... Yeah, Connecticut houses are very cheap right now. The real estate over there is very cheap. I think they made a mistake when it came to like the inner city. So it was like something happened with the jobs over there that caused like the entire like real estate market to kind of shift over there. It's very interesting how real estate works, guys, and how prices actually work, you know. But you know, Connecticut at one point was actually pretty good. But the idea he's trying to move to Connecticut, I get that. But now, is he going to be traveling from Connecticut to New York for his job? And then that becomes an issue of like, hey, that's an hour or 2 hours of traveling every single day. And over, for example, 40 years of work, that's a ton of time, you know? So it's all about like, what are you willing to do, you know? And that's where the entire like, do I buy a house or do I rent something? So you always have to keep that into perspective.
And my goal really is to eventually I will expand and become an enterprise. From there, give my businesses down to my children and my children's children as legacies.
Oh, that's pretty cool. So I think his entire thing is basically, I think he's trying to do basically what his mom did in a way, right? His mom basically has a bakery. I don't think he's interested in it, right? But his mom would probably like want to pass it on to him, and then he's also wants to pass on his business to basically like his kids. I get it, you know. It's like a pretty cool concept. But the idea is this, you know. Overall, what do I think here? By the way, I'm saying everything from like the heart, making sure that he's okay, his family's okay. Overall, what I would focus in on is basically get rid of the car. You know, probably stay in the apartment a little bit longer. Do the math. Is it better to rent or is it better to basically stay in that apartment and basically, or move into another apartment and just rent there? Or would it be better to actually move? You know, the idea is if you move to Connecticut, do you still work in the city? How much time is that gonna cost you away from your kids and also from your life? You know, transportation to go to work for me is like a no-no. I can't stand it. I can't stand spending more than 5 minutes or 10 minutes getting somewhere else. Warren Buffett says it all the time. But the idea is, if I was in his place, what I would probably focus on more is I'll probably stay in that apartment for a little bit longer. Get rid of the car. Get rid of all those expenses you don't need. Build the Amazon business and also just save up all the income from my normal job, okay? And grab that money and start piling it up. And then once he builds up enough cash, I would probably just buying properties, you know, buying enough properties. For example, buy one property here, but making sure it's cash flowing. That way he has more income actually coming in. But the idea of like moving to Connecticut and then traveling an hour to actually go to New York back to his job, I don't like the idea. I'm just being honest here. But overall, I'm proud of the guy. You know, he has a kid, he has a family, he's doing well for himself. But be very careful with buying a house and then you're basically just living paycheck to paycheck, because a lot of people actually do that. So be very careful. Overall, guys, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. And you guys like this? You guys didn't like it? Comment down below. Let me know. And as always, guys, if you enjoyed this video right here, well, like this video. Also, subscribe to the channel and hit the bell so you're notified every time I post a new video. On top of that, watch this other video right here about this lady that makes around $38,000, but is also very impulsive and basically is in credit card debt right now up to the neck. Watch this video right here. Remember my video now. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thanks for watching, and as always, peace.